The more you reveal your sorrow, the more people might want to hurt you. However, it isn't always the case. It is ordinary for some people to be happy to see you suffer, or even play a role in it occurring or worsening. Acts of sadism and jealousy unfortunately happen in many, and can really limit your personal growth in numerous sectors of life, be it at work, in a group of friends, or even in the family. Therefore, learning not to show your weak point might end up becoming your strong point. You will be learning to be the controller of your own fate and be strong in a sea of chaos. In this video we will talk about the 18 Stoic principles of Epictetus, a great and prominent philosopher you probably already know about. Additionally, I encourage you to develop self-knowledge, where strength does not come from the sound of storms, but from the silence of the light that illuminates the path. With that said, let us get started. Principle number 1. Listen twice as much as you speak. Have you ever wondered why God gave us 2 ears but only 1 mouth? According to Epictetus, there is no mistake or coincidence concerning this. Instead, there is a specific reason behind this reality, not to fall in love with our voice as much as we fall in love with the voice of others. It is by learning from other people that we develop in life, not by repeating our own words again and again. So starting today, start paying closer attention to the words that those around you say, rather than to what you have been upholding till now. Principle number 2. Always remember that death is waiting at the end of the road. This is not advice that invites us to negative feelings, but to be mindful that death is the final destination of all our actions, and particularly our efforts. Once we have this in mind, maybe we will begin to analyze to what level it is worthwhile to spend 20 years of our life savings on paying for an apartment. As much as it weighs on us, we aren't going to be able to take it with us anywhere we go after death strikes us. Just as we carry in our bags the items that we consider necessary for everyday life, such as our phone and credit card, it would be extremely helpful for us to carry a small notebook with these Stoic principles, because we will no longer see obstacles as calamities, nor life as the internal time we have at our disposal. But we will develop a more positive perspective of our lives and definitely make more effective use of every moment of our lifetime. Principle number 3. Guilt is synonymous with the plague. Narrow-minded people blame others. Ordinary people blame themselves. But those who are wise see all guilt as stupidity. Thanks to this quote from Epictetus, therapists these days are starting to think about guilt as a feeling to be eliminated from our daily lives. The only means by which to win the battle against guilt is to refuse to engage with it. The difficulty is that it turns into an easy road, since by blaming others or ourselves we entirely absolve ourselves of the responsibility of correcting the mistake. Therefore, resorting to it is the temptation that is difficult to overcome. Only those people driven by a firm desire to win and overcome can avoid guilt and still be able to take accountability for their actions. Principle number 4. Always expect the worst. One of the most common causes of anxiety and its deadly consequences is the feeling that disastrous situations will be waiting for us in the future. We worry that our kids will give up their studies, we will be dismissed from jobs, our husband or wife will confess to us that they have been having an extramarital affair with someone else and ask us for a divorce, or that something else horrible will happen to us, such as being bankrupt. The problem is that one day we will fear one of these challenges again and again. The road of life, in addition to reserving beautiful and happy moments for us, also reserves lots of troubles that are inevitable. Therefore, we live in constant stress created by various factors every day. And this is where Epictetus comes into the picture, as his suggestion is effective. He explains that all these things you worry about have already happened, so what could be worse? In such a manner your spirit will develop the resilience to move along with your head held high. Principle number 5. Make alliances with winning people. If someone sneezes near us, we automatically walk away, overwhelmed by the fear that they might infect us. However, we are not that vigilant to prevent one of the most dangerous contagions we are subjected to every day. Epictetus gave us helpful advice about this. We should associate ourselves with those who make us want to do our very best, because people's behavior strongly influences our state of mind. There are those who drain our energy and ruin our day, whereas others leave us full of excitement and enthusiasm. So one of the wisest decisions we can make is to surround ourselves with people who bring good vibes into our lives, while we say goodbye to the people who can make us regret being born. Principle number 6. Never forget that your reactions forge your destiny. We ought to avoid taking our reactions lightly, as they are undoubtedly a factor in our success or failure. And Epictetus was very clear about this. He showed us that we cannot choose what happens but how to control it. Misfortune might come upon any of us, but it is what we decide to do when it comes that makes the difference from that moment on. For some people, a divorce means entering the world of depression. In contrast, for Epicurus, it is an ideal opportunity to start the journey of self-knowledge. Remember that your life is not what happens to you, but whatever you choose to do with it. Principle number 7, always fulfill your duty. Each one of us has a role to play in society and in the world, and the sun does not require applause or enchantments to rise in the morning, but it does daily, which is final. Thus, just as every part of nature fulfills its responsibility, we must fulfill our obligations. If we are waiting for pleasure or praise to accomplish our work, we are failing the surroundings to which we belong and ourselves. If we know what our role is and understand that other people rely on it, it is our moral responsibility to carry it out without waiting for someone to remind us. Principle number 8, be aware of the dangers of fortune. The wealth that we wish for might come with a stigma that only a few people can free themselves from. And it's not just about those people who will arise from nowhere to benefit from our wealth by pretending to be friends and having no feelings for us. Money can transform people in general, but not always for the better. Whenever we are possessors of these highly wanted materials, we come to have something that till then we weren't aware we had, and it is from that time that our spirit can start to poison itself in the face of the loss of moral values. Principle number 9, do not cling to a single hope. Fortunately, we are prone to exercising diversity. That is, there is no need to focus all our expectations on a single ambition, as this could be devastating if we don't succeed in it. Therefore, Epicurus advises us to pursue multiple ambitions, as that will practically boost our chances of success. Principle number 10, true wealth lies in a contented spirit. Due to the Stoicism Epicurus had, his idea of happiness, and we can understand it from one of his famous phrases, "A wise man is one who does not grieve over what he does not have, but rejoices in those he has." This reflection goes deeper than a thought. It is advice to learn to avoid feeling afflicted by those fortunes that are not yet part of our lives, because while we allow ourselves to complain and grieve for what we don't have, we lose important seconds of happiness in which we could be grateful for everything we have achieved so far, and which is a lot more than our minds are trained to appreciate. Thus, someone who is wealthy is above all a happy person. Principle number 11, incorporate humility into your life if you genuinely want to learn something. A person must learn what they think they already know. Through this quote, Epicurus encourages us to make good use of our humility, particularly when it comes to the realm of learning. Going through life bragging about the pride of knowing separates us ever further from the true understanding that develops from the feeling that we are uninformed about what we want to learn. In this way, we shall look at everything through the eyes of children, who possess as much potential for wonder as they do have an eagerness to learn. Principle number 12, do not hate those who dislike you, simply ignore them. You are considerably greater and superior to the person who condemns, dislikes, and has prejudices against you. Therefore, avoid wasting your time disliking that person, because they don't even deserve to be there in your mind. We are advised not to fear people who hurt us, since that noise means a regretful attempt to hurt you. So ignore them. Principle number 13, bet on simplicity. Why live in frugality if today we have the opportunity to surround ourselves with a multitude of luxuries? The answer is quite simpler than you believe, because wealth cannot sustain itself but needs effort and a lot of daily energy to maintain this system of luxury and wealth. In contrast, when we decide on a simple lifestyle, we cease being surrounded by the pressure of needing to fulfill the due dates of bills and loans. Principle number 14, when you allow the comments and attitudes of others to bother you, you are handing over control of your life. Any person who can get you angry becomes your master. However, people will only get you angry when you allow yourself to be distracted by them. Epicurus makes us understand that there are various keys within us, some of which take us to happiness, whereas others lead us right into emotional ruin. And it is exactly this last key that we hand over to the people who get us angry. The solution to this issue is to build up a barrier that protects us from being influenced by the attitudes of others, because each one is the owner of what they say and also of what they choose to listen to. Principle number 15, friendship is above wealth. True wealth is true friendship, as they will always be there to stand by us if one day our material fortune diminishes. Therefore, devote yourself to creating true friendships, and you are going to be creating a very beneficial long-term investment. Principle number 16, prepare to fail, because that is the only way to progress. We accomplish the impossible to ensure we don't seem stupid, but Epicurus has a different opinion about this. According to his philosophy, one of the greatest things that can happen to you is to be seen to progress both professionally and personally as well. The Stoic philosopher advises us that victory is not the outcome of an unexpected reaction, but rather the outcome of a long process of trial and error, because it is through error that we can refine what separates us from excellence. Principle number 17. Always extract the benefits from all things. Whatever happens, it is your decision whether you make use of it or not. These were the words of Epicurus. As you understand, it is not about having a choice to take positive outcomes out of challenges, but that doing so is our responsibility. As long as there is intelligence in you, there will be a capacity to comprehend the advantages you can gain from the scenario that has struck you. Imagine that one day you go to work and discover you will be sacked. Rather than despairing and blaming heaven and earth for working against you, you have the option of stepping into that enterprise you dreamed of while satisfying a work schedule alongside people you dislike. Therefore, always try to search for the positive in a scenario, as this movement lined up throughout your life is certain to carry you further than just lamenting. Principle number 18. Stop worrying about what is out of your control. You are the person in charge of your perspective, but not your reputation. You have the encouragement and enthusiasm for the quest, but you cannot control the amount of stuff you have or your success. Therefore, stressing and being resentful about things that we cannot control is simply deciding to waste time. According to Epicurus, we are called to nurture the values that we can change, but it is also our responsibility to let go of what is beyond our control and thus let fate take care of it. In addition to being very helpful for everyday life, Stoic principles are teachings that may assist us in handling challenging circumstances with interest and resilience, as there is no room in their philosophy for dreaming, but only for implementing what is learned to move forward. I hope you liked the video, and since you've made it to the end, share your opinions with us in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe.